Hi everyone. Thank you all for joining me here today. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and it's also a pleasure to be actually meeting people face to face, isn't it? It's interesting, the last time we were out, since then I've had a son, and so for the last couple of years I've been used to an audience of one, so this is a rare treat for me. So who am I and why am I here? So my name is Ian Robinson, and I am the Chief Architect at Titania. I work with, closely with customers and partners to help shape our enterprise solution, which hopefully I'll be demonstrating in a few minutes. I'll be showing you how you can accurately automate PCI DSS 4.0 compliance assessments of all of your devices within your CDE, so firewalls, switches, routers. I'll be showing you how you can do so with prioritized risk and remediation, fixing things in prioritization order, helping you to fix the most critical compliance failures first. From a zero trust perspective, our solution helps you verify rather than just trust that all your devices maintain a secure and compliant configuration. And yeah, it's a key zero trust principle, and one that progressive frameworks like PCI DSS 4.0 are now adopting. So before we get into sort of the demo, I'm gonna, if you sort of bear with me for a few minutes, I'm gonna take us on a bit of a journey. It kind of involves a bit of a mind shift, and it's an important mind shift in the industry that I feel we all need to take. Hopefully, you're all on that journey anyway, so hopefully it shouldn't be anything, too new for you guys. Oh, just gone ahead one. So, I think we can all agree that PCI DSS 4.0 boasts some of the most important and significant changes to the standard since 2004. And it kind of highlights the increase in risk that the industry now needs to mitigate. In fact, the council have been leading the way for this for a long time, particularly around effective network segmentation. They've been recommending this in a lot of the previous iterations of the standard. So it's great that it's there and it's prominent in PCI DSS 4.0. So effective network segmentation helps you to reduce your attack surface. If a host gets infected or compromised, the incident will remain contained within a small segment of the network. And this significantly reduces your risk of susceptibility to expert attacks on the cardholder data environment. But not only expert attacks, it also reduces your risk to less sophisticated attacks, like availability attacks, like ransomware. 84% of organizations have fallen victim to this in the last 12 months. And with network segmentation, if you think about it, 80% of network traffic is actually inside your perimeter. So not just at the perimeter and the boundaries, it's actually inside. So effective network segmentation will help prevent lateral movement across your network. An interesting study revealed recently that only 4% of organizations in that study were assessing all of their devices. So not just the perimeter, not just the firewalls, the routers and the switches, endpoints, all of the crucial items within the perimeter. So from a zero trust foundation capability, this is the mindset shift. Why don't we assume that we've been breached? If we assume we've been breached, let's adopt segmentation policies to help reduce the surface area of those attacks if and when they happen. It helps us think about what to do when we are breached. So hopefully this is something that reflects really well on PCI DSS 4.0, and hopefully it's something that now the industry hopefully should be coming on board with, and hopefully should be thinking about more, more day to day. All in all, effective segmentation strategy has been proven to save an average of about $20.1 million per year in application downtime and deflect 5 cyber attacks per year. Many examples of those attacks can be far less devastating had sufficient network segmentation policies been in place. A good example of that is the 2007 Equifax data breach. I've left a link in the side, so if you guys want to have a look at that study and look at the information, you're welcome to do so after the event. So, segmentation is vitally important, but how do we ensure that all of our devices in the critical network segments maintain a secure configuration? PCI DSS 4.0 also recommends risk assessing all types of devices where automation allows, rather than just sampling. So this involves all of your devices within your CDE at regular cadence. It also promotes security as a continuous process, and that risk assessment should drive the cadence of how often those checks are run. Where daily risk assessments are not achievable, whether that's due to resource or due to technology constraints, at the very least, the device configurations that have changed should be checked. So to help deliver security from compliance, one of the things that's being promoted is fixing what you find in risk prioritization order. So looking at this from a risk perspective. So moving towards this desired continuous approach, it requires network security and compliance teams to move away from tick box compliance. We absolutely need to move away from this. And they need to enhance assessment processes, and we need to invest in security automation. Because in many cases, the current approach is failing to keep up with the fact that networks change on a daily basis. And not only do they change on a daily basis, they are ever increasing in complexity. Inaccurate automation and insufficient resources means that device sampling and annual or pass-fail audits are kind of commonplace at the moment, which is why there are so many breaches of payment cardholder data. And often, these are entirely preventable. So, accurate automation is the key to effective and consistent PCI compliance. So, let's start to look at some new-to-market technology that will help enable you to achieve this continuous, consistent, and sustainable approach to compliance. So, I'm just going to pause on this slide here. So, what I have today is, rather than produce a live demo, because hopefully we all agree what sometimes happens on live demos. What I'm going to do is, I've got a pre-prepared video. I'm going to attempt to talk over that video, which obviously brings some new challenges, but let's see how we get on. So if we can just cue the demo up. So before we sort of get into the demo, I'm going to talk a little bit about the product, about what it is, what it does, and effectively, this is Nipper Enterprise, what you're looking at the moment, and this delivers a continuous and allows you to automate PCI DSS 4.0 compliance against your networking devices at scale. Now, for those that are quite familiar with Titania and our product called Nipper, Nipper is a compliance and security assessment tool whereby you can install it on a network or you can install it in close proximity to configuration files, and you can perform assessments against those devices. Now, Nipper Enterprise, on the other hand, is a compliance and security assurance platform. So what we have done, this box in the top right-hand corner here that says 5 sensors, is effectively 5 Nipper installations going to work. So we have containerized our Nipper platform. We have horizontally scaled it out, and this allows us to perform this continuous approach at scale. So in terms of scale, we're talking about the likes of, say, even if you've got, say, 300,000 devices that you are continually looking to assess, with 50 sensors, you can do a round trip of this inside a 24-hour period. So when we're talking about continuous, at scale, and cadences, this can be done even on a daily basis. So moving away from sort of the annual approach, yes, you can be audited every quarter, but from an organization perspective, you can look at your PCI compliance on a daily basis, allowing us to move towards this continuous approach. What I'm going to do is highlight some really clear use cases. There's two of them. There's a security operations center use case, and there's a network operations center use case. And hopefully you will see from the data that we're producing that how that data can be used and can show real value in the industry. So we are agentless. We do not scan your network. We are designed to be fed configuration files. And realistically, the most ideal approach is that we hang off the back of a configuration management database. This gives us two very unique USPs, really. One is that if you are looking at security and network security best practice, from a disaster recovery point of view, a CMDB makes real sense. From a really it makes sense. Sorry, the demo's gone on a bit, so I'll if we could just pause it for a second. Sorry, I've gone a bit too slow to begin with. So, yeah, the CMDB makes sense from a disaster recovery point of view. The other important factor is that we like to act as an independent assessor. So if we're not scanning your network, we're not affecting operation. If we're hanging back off of the CMDB, we're acting like almost like an external assessor. So the way that we do this, and there's two really real simple parts to this. One is that we have representations of devices. So we can continue with the video now, thank you. These devices can be labeled, and these labels are completely agnostic. So you can label your devices in terms of proximity to the CDE. You can do it based on device type. You can do it based on geographical location. And what this allows us to do is it allows us to feed from be fed from the CMDB, represent and tag various devices, and then from there, that allows us to create schedules and schedule different cadences of different assessments. So PCI DSS 4.0, other frameworks like NIST 853, DISA-STIG, CIS benchmarks. And these schedules target different labels. So if I have a particular area of the network, your CDE, as long as your devices are labeled in an appropriate way, you can target those, and they can be, in this instance, on a daily basis, you can have an assessment run against all of those devices. And from there, you can see information about when it was last assessed. You can look at the devices that are currently being targeted, and you can see historically when assessments have been run. You can drill further into the data, and you can say, okay, I can look at this execution that happened, and I can start to look at all of the results of the audits against all of those devices at that moment in time. So we provide evidence-based reporting. So you can see past failures based on PCI requirements here. And when you drill into the data, we produce a human-readable report. And we've been working with QSAs to help shape this report. The key difference between NIPA and NIPA Enterprise now, and new NIPA, which is embedded in NIPA Enterprise, is that not only are we telling you what's wrong on your network, on this particular device, we're telling you what's right. So we're giving you evidence on where you have passed PCI testing procedures. And then, because we're coming at this from a network security point of view, we can overlay risk. Hence, we've got heat map analysis here. So we can help you focus on fixing the most criticals first. Where you are non-compliant, we can go directly into the testing procedures, and we can give you information about what was wrong, what we found, what we did to assess, and the evidence to support it. So here you'll see we have various ratings. We look at the overall impact of the network. We look at the ease of exploitation, so how sophisticated of an attacker do you need to be to exploit it, and ease of fix. We document what we checked. We document what we found, so the evidence-based report. And where you failed, we provide extra information as to why that failure has occurred. Where appropriate, we can also provide device-specific remediation. Equally, where testing procedures have passed, we're providing the same evidence. So if you're trying to build an audit and you're trying to provide evidence of such, we can give you that information. And that information can be copy and pasted into a template, or you can use our report. And we'll continue to work with QSAs on this and make sure we continue to improve upon it. Now, we're talking about scale, so 300,000 devices. You're not going to look through all of those reports at a security operations center level. So what we do is all the data that we collect and information around the misconfigurations, the non-compliances, we can push that out into agnostic data pipelines and feed it into SIEM systems, Splunk, Elastic, QRadar, ArcSight. And then from there, this allows us to do some very powerful stuff. You can build dashboards like this in Splunk that target a particular schedule. So if I want to look at the daily PCI schedule and I want to only target CDE devices, I can do so. And we can start to look at trend analysis over time. So I can see over time how many devices are being included and being assessed. Equally, I can see the pass failure breakdown. So ideally, you should see the green start to converge and push away the red. But where you have non-compliances, we can break that down by risk. So stereotypically, you'd like to see this red at the bottom slowly decreasing first, and then the amber. So that's representing you fixing your criticals and your highs first. So fixing what you find in risk prioritization order. Equally, if there are spikes, like we see here, that could be just because you're onboarding more devices and auditing more, or you've got big configuration drift. So a security operations center is going to want to know about that. You can drill into the data, and you can look at a particular point in time, like here, and you can see the same information. You can see the pass-fail breakdown, the number of devices being assessed. And then what we have here is PCI requirements that are non-compliances broken down by risk. I can drill further into the testing procedures, and I can see the individual testing procedures that are non-compliant. And again, that's broken down by risk. You can drill further into the data, and you can start to then identify the offending devices. So here we have the list of devices that are currently under a non-compliance for that testing procedure. If I want to go a little bit further, I can drill into the data, and I can target a specific device on that list. And this gives you the same level of fidelity that we have in the human readable report, giving you the overlay on impact, ease of exploitation, ease of fix. So whether it's something that you can issue a command against a device, commit it, and off you go, or whether you need to plan an outage. We provide the same level of evidence. We tell you exactly what we checked, what we found, and where appropriate, device-specific remediation. So it's quite powerful in terms of the data that it produced. I think one of the other key aspects that I haven't mentioned is that we can also do a proactive assessment. So when we're talking about devices that have changed, if we're hanging off the back of a CMDB, we can react to that, perform an assessment, and then light up a dashboard straight away, so you're not waiting until the next cadence to find out that you've introduced more vulnerability issues into your network. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to come and speak to me. We are exhibiting on stand A12. Love to keep the conversation going. Love to hear your thoughts on the product. And above all, thank you so much for joining me today, and enjoy the rest of the conference.